for the ultimate source of inspiration, knowledge, and entertainment, look no further. Network Kingdom is a unique platform that brings together experts from various industries. Through networking and collaboration, we create inspiring conversations that educate, entertain, and motivate our listeners. Whether you're a business professional, an entrepreneur, or simply someone looking to grow their knowledge base.
Hello, people. It's another Wednesday, and I have with me this amazing couple. And I'm excited. This is my first time of interviewing a couple, and I've thoroughly had fun talking with them before this. And I've been intrigued. I've been excited. I've also been intimidated by Eric. He happens to fly his own plane, and I wonder who does that. Here I am looking and scrambling for a cheap flight or a seat on a plane, and Eric intimidates me by telling me he's going off to rest and he's flying himself. So I'm going to impose myself on Eric next time I'm in the States.
I would be happy to take you somewhere.
It's so nice to have both of you as a couple on this show. And for those that don't know, they co-authored a book, but I'll let Lila tell me a little bit about it because I can see she's all smiles.
So we wrote the book Family Success Triangle, which is about how we raised our kids and how we integrated family with business and investing, and how the integration actually produced such amazing results that we wanted to share this with other families. Everywhere we go, people ask us how we got our kids to do things like invest in real estate. And it's not a short answer. So this book was our answer.
I mean, because I had read a bit of the book, it's certainly after meeting the kids, after meeting the children, it was a question I wanted to ask, but I was waiting for this interview. And for those who are just listening, you better just stay onto this channel because I'm going to have those wonderful children and make you guys pay. So, I mean, these are boys, and I mean, I have a boy, and you'd always get that, oh, you know, raising boys. Boys are generally different from girls, trust me, even I know that.
Definitely.
And I know that it's a bit of a challenge. It's a bit of a challenge raising boys, and I admire anyone who has raised boys and they are so well behaved. By the way, listeners, the first time I wanted to talk to Nathan and I asked after him, Eric said, oh, he's doing the dishes. And that's, that was wow, and I'm going to ask now, how did you guys do
We started by I started taking them to meetings with me out of necessity. There are a lot of people out there that have a job and they're working hard and they try to balance. And some parents do better. I am a father, so I'm sure mothers can make mistakes too, but I really focus on the fathers. And fathers need to spend more times with their kids, especially if it's a boy. People always talk about these traditional gender roles. Well, the tradition is the man goes to work and the woman stays with the family. But no, right now there's so many women that are working and they can do, and the guys need to step up and teach their boys how to do the laundry, how to put away the dishes like he was doing. And right now, one of them is out at Boy Scouts getting a new merit badge. And we'll go pick him up after this interview. And then he's going to work with Lila, and he'll be at the real estate office for a few hours. So we just started by completely integrating because we didn't have the time. I didn't know how to balance. We were working like most brand new parents. You're trying to figure out, I used to work all the time, and then I got married and I have to make time for my wife. And we have a date night or whatever. And then you throw in kids. And what do? Not spend time with your wife or not spend time at work? Where do you take that time from? Everybody seems to have these problems. Well, we just started doing everything together. So I would take them to business meetings, and my wife has her own office. She goes in and works and has a team of people working with her. But I run a bunch of contractors, so it really doesn't matter. I don't need an office. They're always at a different location. So I would work from home and be with the kids a lot more. And they'd come into the office and say, "Hey, Dad, can we play?" So I just started having them sit at my desk, and I made games out of the business things we had to do, like reconciling business bank accounts. And they would hang in a little jumper in the doorway, bouncing up and down. And then they'd started walking, and they'd come in and ask questions, and they'd play behind me or under the desk or whatever. And we just integrated them into everything. And they started to get interested in it. They ask us questions, and we never said, "Oh, you're too little, you won't understand." We always did our best to break it down and explain it. So now, if you see me on stage, I do my best to break things down to a fourth grade level. Most of the adults, you might know incredibly advanced math if you're a rocket scientist, but you probably forgot the stuff you learned in English class, after about fourth grade.
Certainly.
So whatever sorry, go ahead.
No, I said certainly. I'm agreeing with you.
So, we just tried to break it down to the fourth grade level. And I have a saying that my kids have caught on, and they say frequently that it takes a genius to teach calculus to a fourth grader. And it takes a PhD to use calculus to teach fourth grade math.
Well, that's true. But speaking of which, I totally agree with you on the father bit. It's funny, my son's high school in Nigeria was a boys' school. And like you said, there's that stereotype where mothers attend the PTA meetings, mothers do the school run, mothers, it's just taken for granted. And his high school actually insisted that they wanted to see the fathers, and it was a boys' school. They insisted that the fathers must be present. They actually had an orientation for fathers. And I remember my husband saying to me once, "I'm not the one going to school. My son is the one."
I think it's wonderful. More people should do that.
Exactly. It was different from the norm of, either requesting to see your mom or having a PTA meeting and just seeing women. This school insisted. And I remember the principal saying to me that for them, they believe that a boy's first role model is his dad, and a girl's first role model is his mom. And that honestly did stick.
That is so important. And I just, it was odd. So we just flew down to Columbus to see my 15-year-old has a girlfriend that's a few hours drive away, and it's a 40-minute flight. So we fly down there. Her family picks us up at the airport, and we watched her play soccer on Saturday, so a couple days ago. Well, there I am hanging out with two of the dads that are watching their teenage girls play soccer, and they live such a different life with young ladies that they're raising. And the women take a very dominant role, as they should when you're raising a teenage girl. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting. I only have teenage boys. I have no women other than my wife in the family. And it's important that both of us be there, because I am betting, just like my boys need their mom for some things. Dad, I think we were discussing on the drive home a couple nights ago, Mom lets them. She is not too overprotective as moms go. She lets them not get in trouble. She's very open to that, but she doesn't let them get hurt quite as bad as Dad. And like little boys, they're going to have skinned knees. They're going to go out and do things they shouldn't. And you're there to make sure they don't get hurt too bad, not to prevent them from ever getting hurt, but to be there to pick them up and make sure they learn a lesson so they don't do that again.
Well, and I think one of the things that Eric and I did really well is, we're different personalities, and we took advantage of that. So our oldest has a personality a lot like me, And our youngest, Ethan, has a personality a lot more like Eric. So we actually
I can tell.
So we actually kind of reversed. Sometimes I will spend more time with Ethan to kind of balance him out a little bit. And Eric will spend more time with Devin so that he's not, so quiet, and he's a little more aggressive to go out and get the things that he needs to get done. And so I think if you've got different personalities partnering as parents, you can use that to actually help your kids further themselves as well.
Awesome. Amazing. So question, was it always like this from the beginning, or did you like sit down, talk about it, make a plan?
Judging by Lila's face, she doesn't have any better of answer than I do. So I would say no, it was the same way we ran a business. We learned from the best out there. Right now, we are writing books. And Mark Victor Hansen has sold more books than anybody else in the world. So we were lucky enough. It's funny how much luck plays into this. We were lucky enough to meet him. And actually, my children met him, and he was very impressed with them and became friends.
Yeah,
so we learned.
He actually did tell me he was quite intrigued.
But you find the best person. And maybe when real estate, it was just the best person in our local real estate investment group, the best one in that town that would be willing to talk to us. And then when you grow a little bit, you find the best one in the next bigger pond that you can get into. And you just keep working your way up. And you try to learn what they're teaching. You absolutely will make mistakes, like everything in life. And you just learn from the mistakes. You get knocked down, you get back up, and learn how to not get knocked down the same way again. And so I wish I could tell you it was something better than trial and error, but it was really just learn from the best, do what you think they're telling you to do that I'm sure you don't understand, because if you understood everything I said, you would already be at that level.
Absolutely.
And then you get knocked down a couple of times, you get up, you're like, wow, that's what he meant. That's what she meant. And now you're at the next higher level. We did the same thing with our business as we did with our kids.
So I take two things away from what you just said. One is mentorship, the importance of mentorship. And, I keep saying to people that it was only just a few years ago that I actually, even as a founding member of the John Maxwell team, and John Maxwell talks a lot about mentorship, I just never believed in it. I just used to say, oh, I'm my own mentor. I didn't think much of it, even though I would train and teach on it up until about 3 years ago. And I really, really realized the importance of having mentors. And the minute I realized, the minute I started benefiting from it. The second thing you said that stood out for me is that of making mistakes or failing. And it's something that I keep telling people that is really important. I'm not saying prepare for failure. I'm saying it would come, like I was saying to one of my clients, I said, I've stopped seeing failure as failure the way the world sees failure. I actually see it as another way of winning.
We are fighting hard against the traditional school system, and I don't want to take them on. I simply want to create something that's far better. So I am so tired of people saying,
I don't want you to take them. I don't want you to take them on instead. I don't want you to take them on as well. I am going to get to the story of the last time you took someone on that I know and ended up with a plane. So please don't take the education system. But what is it about it you don't like?
I don't like that they memorize things. You can't learn the whole of something by memorizing the sum of the parts, or by memorizing each part. You actually have to see the big picture. It's actually chapter 1 in our book is look at the big picture, accept things how they really are, not how you wish they were or want them to be. What you were saying, I say you should always plan for failure, plan for the worst, and expect the best. That way, no matter what happens, if you set the standard way up here, higher than you ever can get, and know the worst that is ever going to happen, even though it's terribly unlikely. If you have a plan for the best and the worst, it's almost always going to be somewhere in between, and you'll be prepared for that. And that's how you get ahead.
So Lila, I don't want to ask Eric because I'm still in shock, and I'm going to still keep mentioning it when I asked him the same question the last time. Aside from writing and obviously taking care of the men in your life, what else do you do?
I homeschool our children, which is what allowed us to really teach them the things that we wanted them to learn, no matter where we were traveling or what we were doing. And I like gardening, and we have a greenhouse, and I like running my business. I think running a team of people is fascinating, and trying to, give the best service to your customers is always something that I like to problem solve through those things. So that's what I do. And I like the fact that my kids are interested enough that they'll come to work with me to learn how a business works and what a system is and how to manage people or how to hire them or what problems they might encounter running their own business. But I also like the fact that as a family, we travel around and we're not only teachers for our kids, but we're sometimes students with them to learn more about business or real estate or investing or a multitude of topics. And so that's my favorite part.
Did you mention you just started?
Are you adopting any children? I can come forward.
She also has a large greenhouse, just started seeds, just trimmed the grapevines. And
nice. I wish there was a way we could move the camera there. I would love to see. So this work is the work you're talking about is the real estate here?
Yes. Yes, I run a real estate brokerage that focuses on property management. So we help a lot of owners that they want to own rental property, but they don't want to manage it. And so we do that service for them. So our goal is to maximize their investment in their real estate and to provide good housing for our tenants.
Nice. And Eric is not part of that.
Not really, no. I have a crew of contractors, multiple crews that go around, and we will find rundown buildings, buy them, fix them up. I just helped he might be 24, 25 years old, new guy buying his first house. And I like to take and teach. So every Wednesday night, I have a group of people that gets together. It's free for everybody. And I really take pleasure in helping the younger ones buy their first couple of houses, especially to rent out, not to live in, but to start investing.
Like an investment, yeah.
Right.
So is this event an online, is it a virtual event or an in-person event?
No, we have for online, we did it online for a little while. I really like the in-person. So, and it's only 20 or 30 people that show up every week, and it's different from one week to the next. But if you're interested in learning some of the things that we teach at that meeting, I have a free newsletter. Everybody can sign up. And
awesome. Where can they sign up?
If you go to clearskytrainer.com, right at the top, you'll see a click here button. That signs up. We don't ever share your email. We don't send it out to anybody. It is literally just to get my newsletter, which I need to write so it can go out in a couple of days. But every Wednesday morning that comes out. And then my sons, who you're going to talk to soon, they have their own group of young entrepreneurs. And I believe they're advertising for 8 through 24-year-olds. And they have an online group, and occasionally parents join in to check out and make sure what their kids are learning are good.
I know.
Yeah, that is absolutely welcome. But I'm sure Devin and Ethan will tell you about their Millionaires in Training group. And that is online every Monday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern in the US.
Nice. That's nice. Very interesting. So I'm going to go back to the book later because I'm really intrigued about the book. But I want to know, how did you get into flying?
My father had
Lila
a
is laughing. Lila is laughing.
my father had a small plane when I was a kid, so I was always interested in it. And before I could get my license, he hurt his shoulder, lost his medical, and sold the airplane. And next thing I know, I believe I was 33. And a buddy showed up, and since then we had a skydiving business for a while. Lila and I both have jumped out of many airplanes, and I taught the courses, and she'd coach him in the air. And we had a gear store that sold altimeters and logbooks and stuff. And so I've been interested in different aviation and activities forever. And one of my buddies showed up that buys airplanes like I buy houses, and said, "Hey, I have this airplane I think you should own half of." And I said, "Okay." And next thing you know, I own half of an airplane, and I don't have a license to fly it.
Oh,
So
wow.
eventually I get the license to fly it. And he comes up a couple years later and says, "Hey, you really need to buy this twin engine." And I said, "I am never going to buy another airplane I'm not licensed to fly." And he convinced me to buy it anyways. So now I trade him the single engine airplane, I get the twin engine, and I go through and learn how to fly that one and get my license in it. And then that one moved up. We had trouble. I disagreed with the rules. I think it was stupid what they were telling me to do on airlines. And that whole show up an hour or two before and go through metal detectors and be inspected and all this. I got fed up with that. So I got a big enough plane that I could fly over the mountains, and we could go wherever we want and haul all of our family and all the books we write. And so I upgraded to that about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And now
What
we have
led to this? What led to this major disagreement?
they took me off the airline because I wouldn't put a mask on during the pandemic.
Why? Everyone did.
Why? I have a degree in medicine. It can actually, without going against what everybody's personal beliefs are, let's go with this. I do not think I have the right to make you do something with your body you don't believe in. And I'm certain that I'm not going to let you make me do something with my body as long as I'm not hurting you. And if you look at all of the studies that are coming out, as it turns out, I was right. And being that I have a degree in medicine, as so does my wife, I thought that I was smarter than a flight attendant, at least on the medical side. And so I refused to do it. If they would have had me sign a contract, if you want to fly, then you have to follow these rules. I wouldn't have signed the contract, and I wouldn't have bought a ticket. But they changed the rules after our ticket was bought. So they took me off the plane, said, "We're going to put you on the no-fly list. You'll never fly again." And I said, "Oh, yes, I will."
Fly
And I bought my own
any
airplane.
airline or just theirs?
Oh, I don't know. I've never flown commercial again. I just bought my own airplane, and we're doing an 1,800-mile flight. We're going to Southern California. We'll be on the Pacific Ocean in a couple of weeks. So yeah, it takes me anywhere I want to go, and it takes off when I want to take off. People always ask, "Oh, can you come to breakfast? What time's your plane take off?" I said, "About as soon as I pull back on the yoke." And I just call up and say, "Have my plane ready at 10 a.m. and I'll be there sometime after that." And it's ready.
Okay. Lila, why are you laughing? I noticed, you're smiling and you're laughing. Why?
I like the fact that my husband has very strong beliefs and he communicates them so clearly. And that's something I wish more people would do. I think too many people, they try to be too nice and they almost sugarcoat what they want to say so much that you honestly don't know what
Eric has no time for sugarcoating. I can tell you that for free.
Now, when you own 20 companies, hundreds of rental properties, and have 40 or 50 people working for you at any given time, and you're still homeschooling your children and making sure they make it to Boy Scouts and doing all of the normal things that families do, one problem people say, but oh, that's terrible. All they ever do is business. No, it's not. They spend more time on the farm playing in the pond. I wanted a pond, so I bought a backhoe and built a pond. And Ethan wrote the tree house, and he has this fruit tree challenge. But we planted an orchard, and apparently that's something he grew up and liked. So now he is recommending for everybody not just to plant a tree, but plant a fruit tree. That way you can get food from it and share it with the neighbors and feed your family off of it. So,
I mean, I like the fact that they are hands-on, and I always say to people that I believe a child should be exposed to as much as possible, and then whenever he makes a choice, he's making an informed choice, not you breathing down his neck what you think it should be. That's amazing. So back to our book. What plans do you have for the book? Are we expecting like a workbook or a seminar?
Well, Family Success Triangle, it literally, Lila wrote half of a chapter and I wrote half a chapter. So every chapter, you'll get her viewpoint. And sometimes we teach exactly the same lessons in different ways, because all people learn in wildly different ways. And the school system, one of our lessons, only teaches about a third of the people out there. They are really good at reading and learning. Whereas Ethan, he needs to have his hands on. He needs to be moving.
Yeah.
And they label these kids ADD, OCD, whatever, fill in the blank of, and then they try and make them become normal like everybody else. And Ethan is fantastic. He is not at all like his brother Devin. Devin can read a book and learn things. Ethan needs to be moving, but as soon as he does it, he really gets it. And so, yeah, I am more like Ethan. I managed to do okay in school after I learned how, but it was a struggle. I was in a lot of special education classes, and I had to learn how to learn the way they wanted me to.
Yeah.
And that's just our book teaches how you can use the same exact lessons that need to be learned in multiple ways. Teach your contractors that work for you, teach your employees the way they learn, and your business will grow. In the same way that I led troops in the Army, I learned how to run a business and had to modify that a little bit. I couldn't be as in your face as when I was in the Army. And then I used that to raise children. And then the raising children made me better at growing my business. And that is really what the book is about. And Lila's taking that. She's actually writing a series of lessons. And it will be another couple of years before these are fully rolled out. But she's got the first few done to teach people. The school systems across the world, they don't teach about business and investing. They really need money. Money doesn't exist anymore. We have currency. Since August 15th of 1971, Nixon took the U.S. off the gold standard. And after 44 in Bretton Woods, every major country was tied to the U.S. dollar for their currency. So when we broke that, when the U.S. broke their promise and came off the gold standard, it affected every country on earth.
Yeah.
And now we all have fiat currency. It's not money. It only has value if it moves. If you take your local currency in dollars and, dig a hole, bury it in the hole, and come back 100 years later, it's not going to be worth anything.
Exactly.
But if you take an ounce of gold and you bury it in a hole, 1,000 years from now, it will still be an ounce of gold and will still buy you what it bought you today. So we teach our kids about real money versus currency, how you can use inflation to help you have a better life. And we have positioned ourselves with all of this printing of money from all of the governments of the world to have that benefit us rather than hold us back. So if everyone wants to do this, buy hard assets. Everyone in the world should be able to come up with an ounce of silver. When you collect some silver, you can get gold, real estate, at a much higher level. You're owning businesses. And I'm talking about buying a piece of stock. Don't hold a piece of paper, actually own part of a business. And you say, but you can't do that where I am. Sure you can. The kid that goes over and says, hey, can I wash your laundry for you? Hey, can I help you hang this up? Hey, can I mow your yard? That's Devin's first story, his first business in the garage book. Is he has a lawn care business, and he's making money by mowing people's yards. And then he invents a way to make a trailer to drag behind his bike so he can get his mowers from one yard to the next faster.
Nice.
He's more efficient and makes more money. But these are the lessons that we teach. And that's what we want to pass on. And what's hopefully the legacy of the book is getting people started down that road where they believe they are enough. They think outside the box. They quit memorizing and they start creating on their own and helping the people around them.
Awesome. So Lila, I mean, you've done amazing work with these men. And I'm loving the book. But my concern is a lot of people don't read these days. And while we're trying to make people read, I also have come to realize that a lot of people, just like you say, a lot of people learn in different ways. And I've come with the world becoming a global village. I mean, look at us miles apart having this meeting. There are also a lot of people online. Everyone lives online now. So aside from reading the book, I mean, just talking to you alone, I mean, even though my son is already 23, 24, I still take a lot that I can use. And if I had a child that was young, or if I was just about to have a son, trust me, I would hold on to every word. So that said, is there a way of having is there a plan to kind of have a workshop, even if it's on one chapter, or a workshop on the whole book, or a training, or the kids are actually smarter. They are, even if it's a club or a study club online, where a lot of other parents can actually learn and ask questions and get real-time answers. And I also say this because, just like I said at the beginning, raising boys, I have met about 3 strong groups dedicated to just raising boys. There's actually a guy, a man in Australia, who's also very passionate about the boy child and raising boys and values and all that. So I'm sure there are a lot of us all over the place. And, for every dedicated parent, as soon as we hear anything about raising children, we want to listen.
Well, that's one of the reasons we've been getting on podcasts and trying to get the word out as far as some of the lessons that we've been teaching. Here in the US, we have done a lot of traveling, and we'll go visit these different groups. And what's nice when we do the group talk is we tell them to bring their kids, and we start all together in one room, but then we separate, and Eric takes the adults and the kids, and I take the kids into a different room. And so each side kind of gets the information they need in the format that they need it in. And then we can bring everybody together at the end and kind of, do the concluding remarks and answer questions for everybody. But that's worked really well here to educate both sides.
Awesome. That's amazing. I'm so happy I met you guys. And all I can say is I wish you all the best. And I want you to repeat that site again for those who want to sign up for the newsletter. And of course, anyone who hasn't got the book, Eric, please raise it again. Anyone who hasn't got the book had better go and download it. It's on Amazon. Yes, you want to know about the family success triangle. Yeah.
So yes, please look us up on Amazon, Family Success Triangle. If you just type in our last name, Wohlwend, you will get all of the kids' books. Devin's third book is about to come out, and it is a continuation of The Garage. Ethan has The Treehouse. Devin also wrote If I Can Do It, So Can You. And you can get all of the information about us online at clearskytrainer.com. Or you can follow us on Instagram, Real Power Family. And we also have a YouTube channel. So that's something if you want to watch rather than read. And absolutely make sure you sign up for podcasts like this. We never drive anywhere, and our kids have just grown up listening to all of these podcasts, which is why we like to be on them so much, because we listen to so many. So if you're not a reader, listen and learn on podcasts like yours.
Nice. Thank you so much. So to you guys, you see, I wasn't too far from the truth when I told you guys I had this amazing couple. Don't forget to check out the website and check out the link below for the website, just in case you didn't get it, and follow them on Instagram and YouTube. See you guys next week. I'm out.
You've been listening to Network Kingdom with Omo Obulor. Remember, if you cannot see where you're going, ask someone who has been there before.